led by Jamuna Mataji, and the crowd, 20, 30,000 people would turn up every evening. Giriraj Maharaj, you could say more.
It was a glorious event. Leading up to it, Srila Prabhupada taught us the phrase, going for the rhinoceros, and that if you go for the rhinoceros and you fail, no one will blame you because everyone knows that you can't catch a rhinoceros. But if you're successful, everyone will praise you. So this was his impetus to us to attempt this major feat, which by his and Sri Radharasa Vihari's grace was executed successfully.
Wow. And
so many wonderful results, including Your Holiness and His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. I mean, what could be better?
And we have Radhanath Swami Maharaj here as well. Can you remember what's happening here right now, dear Radhanath Swami Maharaj?
I was just thinking His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj cited Srila Prabhupada that the purpose of this event was to go for the rhinoceros. And there happened to be a little mouse in the form of me that was there, and somehow or other you found me too. I'm so profoundly grateful that you caught this little mouse. You were hunting for rhinoceros, and there was a little mouse trap involved too.
That's a very nice way to put it. And we're looking right now, so we just had a few recollections, and I just want to just bring in, if I may, Mother Vishaka Yadubara Prabhu. When you just seen that, what comes back to your mind when you just saw this little video clips? What does it bring back?
Dr. David, ladies first.
I had just arrived in India the same month that it started in March. It was my first time out of the US. And although everything in one sense was very different from the US, I had a strong feeling that somehow or other I had experienced this before. So it was quite unique for me, déjà vu. The crowds were just overwhelming. In America, I guess sometimes you see crowds like that, not very often, but every day for the entire duration. And they had such reverence for the devotees, and especially for Srila Prabhupada. It was truly a memorable experience just from the point of view of how the crowds saw the devotees and Srila Prabhupada.
Wow. Yadubara Prabhu?
Yeah, I had come to India in December 1970, a few months before the festival. And I had been fortunate enough to be traveling with Srila Prabhupada for those 2 months. And I invited Vishaka Devi to join me. And she happened to come just at this time of the festival. And the festival...
Off a little bit there. We'll just check your sound.
Sorry.
And we'll definitely come back to yourself. Yeah, can you just speak, Yadubara Prabhu? Just check if you're okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
We've lost your sound, Yadubara Prabhu. We'll bring you back. I'll try and see.
I can hear him.
I can hear him.
Yeah, I hear him. Must be on your side.
Everybody here. Oh yes, I know what's happened. It's not you. It's me. We can hear you. It's myself.
Yeah, there's many many memorable moments. I don't know if anyone knows this, but there's one other devotee who met Prabhupada for the first time and the Hare Krishna group at the festival. His name is Dadi Harta Prabhu. Has anyone ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. He lived in Sharanagati when we lived there. But he happened to come to the festival, and his impressions were he listened to Prabhupada's lecture, and he couldn't really understand much. The one thing that came through was surrender. And he was he wasn't ready for that, but eventually he did. So that's the value of a moment's association, or a few minutes with the Prabhupada.
Wow. I just got that part as well. And I can see Shruti Prabhu, you're on now. We can
Yes.
see you. So you saw that video. What were your recollections of that?
I saw myself in the crowd there. It's wonderful to be with all of you. About ready to be initiated. So it reminded me of that day. What's interesting is this year, the dates are the same. I was initiated Monday, March 29th, and this year it was also on a Monday. So today would be the day that we had the Rath Yatra to Chowpatty Beach. So of course I remember that day very well. Should I tell some more about that moment?
Please do. And as you do that, I'm going to share a picture of a banner. Please do.
Okay. All right. So we were all there ready to be initiated. Bhagavan, Padmavati, Dravida, who later became Pancha Dravida Swami, a French boy named Darsha, and Mahamsa. And did I say Vardhan? Vardhan was there. So we were about ready to get initiated, and I was so excited, but I had double mercy with that because I'd sent my beads from Paris to India to be initiated on, and it was freezing cold in Paris, and we had no heat. And the French boy, Guy, is opening and shutting the windows, letting in more cold air. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Set to an austerity." And I'm thinking it's already cold enough. So I said, "Krishna, I'll make you a deal. You get me out of this cold. I promise never ever to complain about heat ever." So 3 days later, a letter came from Prabhupada saying, "Please send 3 devotees to India." So we were off, and we flew to Delhi and then took the train to. People were amazed to see 3 Western brahmacharis on the train through Rajasthan and Gujarat. So we got there on the 27th and went to Prabhupada's room, and Prabhupada said, "These are young boys. You must take care of them." So you always see like Brahmananda or Shaimasundar always be fixing my buttons, and because they remember me as a child that was 18 and looked about 13. So on the day of initiation, Prabhupada was just about to chant on my beads, and he said to Gurudas, he pointed, he says, "Go out and get that Western yogi out there." And we didn't see any Western yogi. There was 35,000 other people. Say, "Right out there." He said, "We don't see it." And then Prabhupada says, "No, just look there." And then the crowd cleared, and there was one with big matted hair. And Prabhupada said, "See, bring him up here." And Prabhupada told him, "You sit right here next to me." And then Prabhupada chanted on my beads, and I knew this person would become one of the great devotees in our movement, and that was Radhanath Swami, of course. So I always try to sit next to him because Prabhupada's instructions were to sit right next to me to keep me in line. So I'm always thankful that Prabhupada and the devotees try to keep me in line because I get stuck some places alone, but through Krishna's mercy, I use it to my advantage. Like Prabhupada wrote to me that I've been left alone by Krishna's arrangement, just like our Narada Muni. I spent 6 months in South Africa alone. But the thing I really remember from that Cross Medan is Prabhupada wanted to do something big because then everybody remembers that. When they would call the people afterwards, after the Cross Medan, they would say, "Did you see our program at Cross Medan?" And they'd all heard about it. And they said, "We have another program to tell you about." And of course, the program was life membership. But that big program had opened the door. So when we do a program like we did in Laguna yesterday, the Mahagur Purnima, or we do the Rath Yatras, it opens the door to bring more people.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing and so immersed in those experiences. And I just saw the smile on Giriraj Maharaj's and Radhana Maharaj's face when you were speaking on this. Would you like to share something? Can you on that especially what Shri Prabhu was just mentioning?
Radhanath Swami, would you like to?
Please, Maharaj. You were one of the few devotees that actually assisted Srila Prabhupada from the very beginning in organizing and making it all happen.
Okay.
So we are very eager to hear from you.
All right. Well, yes, I remember when you came to the site, and amongst my various duties, I was in charge of the book table, which was actually several long tables put together. And from my experience with book distribution in America, I knew that the real key was to place the book or the magazine in people's hands so they could leaf through it and become attached to it. And then I would ask for a donation. So I was doing that, handing people the Back to Godhead magazine. And unlike my experience in America, people just walked off with it without paying. So I consulted our dear friend and advisor, Sadaji Whitlow. I explained to him the predicament. He said, "Oh, you can't do that in India." So I said, "Well, what do you do?" He said, "Well, you have to poke a hole in the corner of the magazine and thread a string through it and attach the string to the leg of the table. That way they can hold the magazine and look at it and become attached to it, but they can't walk off with it." So I had noticed now His Holiness Radhanath Swami at the site with his matted hair and faded cloth. And he was spending time at the Panda. I thought, well, this could be a good service for him. So he helped with that. But one thing I also remember, so then, Prabhupada came and spoke, and I told Radhanath Swami, you'd rather hear Guru Maharaj speak. And so he went in the audience, and we heard that wonderful story of the Srila Prabhupada spotted him and had Guru Das bring him up to the stage. But one thing is, at some stage, I was at the book table and I was chanting japa quite loudly, thinking I would please Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada looked over to me and said, "One should not disturb the spiritual master with one's chanting." So that was a lesson.
Wow. That's nice. And Radhanath Swami Maharaj.
The Cross Medan Festival, it really opened the doors for everything that we find today happening in India. It was Srila Prabhupada's first major program. It was the largest audience at that time in the history of ISKCON that came for Srila Prabhupada's talks. Very, very special. I happened to just be walking barefoot on the sidewalk in Mumbai, not knowing where I was going or why I was doing it, but I was walking and I saw that big sign saying Hare Krishna Festival. And I went to Cross Medan and entered into that gateway. And just to the right, there was a book table. And Tushta Krishna Prabhu was behind the table. And he allowed me to take the Krishna book and read it, even though I didn't have any money. Somehow or other, it wasn't tied to the table. He trusted I would bring it back. So I just sat in the lawn. And during the day, there was very few people that came. But I'm remembering on the stage, all alone, was Yamuna Devi, just sitting and with a microphone chanting various Vaishnav bhajans. And this was such a deep experience, reading Srila Prabhupada's words in Krishna book and simultaneously hearing Yamuna Devi singing. And basically, I just did that all day. And then Tushta Krishna asked me, he came up and took the book back and said, "Do you want to do some service?" And I said, "Sure." And then he entrusted me to His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, who became my best friend at that moment and engaged me in devotional service. And the first ISKCON Kirtan I ever heard was Yamuna Devi singing on the stage. And she just sounded like she was crying for God's love. It so deeply affected me. And my first service was with His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. And then Giriraj Maharaj, after the crowd started pouring in by the thousands and thousands, he said, "Please go and hear Guru Maharaj speak." So I did not like crowds because I liked to be in seclusion. So I went way in the back of everyone where it was pretty spacious. And then Prabhupada was on the stage and I could hardly see him from way back there. And I was thinking, God, I wish I could be closer. But at the same time, I can't interfere with these crowds. And then Guru Das Prabhu was taking photos on the stage and Prabhupada called him over. And then Guru Das came out into the crowd and he took me by the hand in the very back and said, "Prabhupada wants you to sit with him." And I was very confused. I said, "How does Prabhupada know who I am?" And Guru Das did not say another word to me. He just pulled me. And he pulled me right up to the stage. And Prabhupada greeted me with folded palms. And Madhudvisa Maharaj was leading kirtan at the time, and everyone was singing. And Prabhupada just kind of motioned that I could sit close to him. So I did. And I remember a couple things. I'll be very brief. I felt so totally out of place because the whole time I was in India, I was going to secluded jungles and caves. And here I was on stage with 20 to 30,000 people all looking and gigantic spotlights on us. And the devotees were all dancing in ecstasy, and they were so clean with shaved heads and clean robes, and the ladies with the Vaishnavis with beautiful saris. And I didn't know what this dancing was. I was just sitting there, and I thought I looked so dirty and out of place. And I just was thinking, I'm getting out of here. And just when I was about to run away, Prabhupada just turned to me and looked at me. He didn't say a word, but through his glance, he slightly smiled and made me feel completely right at home. So I stayed there. And I remember in Prabhupada's talk, what the impression that really struck me was it seemed like Srila Prabhupada was pleading with the people of India to accept Krishna consciousness. It's like you have forgotten the great treasure that is India and the Vedic culture and Krishna consciousness. and you're chasing after things of the West, and here are people of the West coming for what you have rejected. And he was pleading with the people, almost in tears, forceful but so humble, begging, please take this movement seriously and help spread it. And after Prabhupada's lecture, I went to touch his feet, and Cross Medan, March 25th, 1971, was the first time I got severely chastised by an ISKCON devotee. And that was His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami, who said, you cannot touch Prabhupada's feet. So just before I touched, I pulled my hand back. And the first words Prabhupada ever spoke to me were at that moment. He saw how mortified I was by the chastisement. And he smiled and said, you can touch my feet. And I was still a little afraid, but then he looked at Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and Tamal Krishna Goswami kind of smiled and nodded. And then I touched Prabhupada's feet and placed the dust on top of my head. And Srila Prabhupada rubbed my head, and he said, every day I'll be speaking in the morning and in the evening, and you could come and sit on stage with me, please. And from that first day, every morning and evening, I would be on the stage with all the devotees.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I just want to just take just this opportunity just to show a picture of yourself here looking at Swami Maharaj here. Just can you remember this picture being taken?
Yeah, that was the first day I'm returning from India. This was in 1972. My visa ended in India, so I had to leave, and I went to stay at the temple in Amsterdam and then Berry Street in London. And then I got a ticket on an airplane back to New York City, and then a ticket to where my parents were living. And when my father came to the airport to pick me up, this is the first thing he saw was me sitting on the floor chanting japa. Mm-hmm. And what you see is all my baggage.
And also, you just talked about Giriraj Swami Maharaj. You see, you've got the book in the hand. You know, the temple commander, as you were as well, and also on the book table, as was mentioned. And I want to just bring on. So we see Giriraj Swami Maharaj. We see Radhanath Swami Maharaj. But does anybody guess who this is? It's coming on now.
Mahamsa.
No.
Lokanath Swami.
That's the saint of Maharashtra, His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj.
So one thing I wanted to, since we're going back memories, I thought it'd be a good time just now, just to bring on. We have a lovely recording. Dear Sham Sundar Prabhu wanted to join, but couldn't today. But he done a recording which I'm going to share. It's a 5-minute recording, and after that, we're going to then carry on with the memories. Hopefully, this will jog a few memories as well. So I'm just going to play this right now, and we'll put this on the screen as we're talking. And I just after we come to this, Lokanath Swami Maharaj, we'll come to yourself just to talk on this point first. And I'll just put this on now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. First, my deepest greetings and humble obeisances and deepest gratitude to Lokanath Maharaj. All the angels out there joined us today.
Louder.
Your Das joining you
Volume.
Mountain
In California.
Just put that.
Lokanath Maharaj has asked me to speak something today on the 50th anniversary of the Cross
Medan
Medan
Festival in Bombay. Mumbai now.
which is Lokanath Maharaj's first experience, his first taste of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness. Thus, this festival means really a lot to Lokanath Maharaj. I'm so happy to be able to have lived this long to speak about that wonderful occasion. I thought today I would read and comment on my description of this festival, which I've already described a lot in the, I don't know if you can see that, volume 2 of Chasing Rhinos with the Swami. This book has descriptions of the Cross Medan Festival in a full description. So I'll read from that today. Now, it starts in 1970, the year 1970 in October, when Srila Prabhupada arrived in Bombay or in India and brought with him 20 Westerners to reinvigorate or reintroduce Krishna consciousness into India. He called us his white elephants, his dancing white elephants. There were only 20 of us with this giant task of introducing Krishna consciousness back into India. I won't go into long details on that because we're talking about Cross Medan here. Anyway, right away, Krishna consciousness surprised the nation of India. We were a national sensation immediately. And by late December 1970, we were traveling widely throughout India, preaching and doing kirtan. Prabhupada was like day and night, busy all over the country. We were in Surat, in Gujarat state, in late December 1970. And I'll just read something about that, the introduction of the Cross Medan Festival. After the evening celebrations in Surat, we gathered in Prabhupada's room. One night I asked him, Prabhupada, we have seen some of these huge outdoor programs they have in Bombay with big tents. They go on for a week, something like that Sadhu Samaj meeting, and with big lights and advertising. Some of the life members think, well, we also think, that it might be a good idea if we put on one of these tent festivals in Bombay ourselves. What do you think? Prabhupada replies, oh, you have found a good place? We're thinking maybe Cross Medan, that big park between Churchgate Station and Flora Fountain, right in the heart of Bombay. There was some kind of a Mayavadi festival there a couple of weeks ago, and thousands of people were going in. Prabhupada said, yes, it is a good idea. Bombay is the leading city in India. If I speak like this continuously, many days, it will change everything. At least 1 week. The life members will help you. And I will speak there morning and night, and everyone is welcome. No admittance fee. You make big publicity. I will show you. And Prabhupada sits forward, takes his glasses out of their plastic case, and picks up his cross ballpoint pen. He sketches for a moment and says, you make like this. One big hall with a stage where we will sit, and here make a nice temple, and we will install Radha and Krishna deities. Decorate everything nicely, and behind some space for pujaris and prasadam. There must be prasadam for every person who enters. We shall call it Bhagavata Dharma Discourses. At last, a big project. Bhagavad Dharma Discourses in Bombay, a major rhino for sure.
So thank you very much. We're just going to put We're going to put everyone on stream right now. Thank you for sharing. And I've hopefully we can just on this festival itself, like Lokanath Swami Maharaj yourself was actually, going for the first time as well, and you saw this massive, amazing, festival being put on. And there's a lot of, we're going to come to Giriraj Maharaj after that because you were helping organize this as well, and Vegavan Prabhu. But just Lokanath Swami Maharaj, your impressions as soon as what you just heard from Shyam Sundar Prabhu, that feeling of entering and how that was, how did it come across to yourself?
I think Hari. I think I was at the receiving end. You all assembled here. We're delivering Krishna consciousness, assisting Srila Prabhupada in organizing that festival, Cross Medan Festival. And I feel that it was kind of organized for me, organized for another 20, 30,000 people. But I think for Radhanath Maharaj, and I think it was organized for me to catch me. So first of all, I like to thank each one of you assembled here. And you were there for me 50 years ago. I mean, we are calling this as reliving Hare Krishna festival at Cross Medan. And it's amazing. It's amazing what is happening right now, right here. It's like we met then and we are meeting here, there, and then we are here together again. It's like a family reunion. Hari. So, of course, I was just a college student, and you were all American sadhus and European sadhus. And this festival was very tactfully advertised like that. The American sadhus are in town, European sadhus are in town. So this caught the imagination of everybody, especially myself. American sadhus, forget it. American scientists is okay, but American sadhus. So I had been coming there every day, and Hari. So certainly became my first ever meeting with His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. And as I met, I did not realize then, but later on I could realize how this was what we hear from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. So I had been wandering all over, and I was studying in a college in Sangli district in Maharashtra. I could have continued there, but then I had this idea, or someone was prompting me, no, go to Bombay. You should become a graduate of Bombay University, this Sangli, Shivaji University. This is nothing, Bombay University. So I went to Bombay, and soon after I coming there, and I wasn't into studies so much. That was me. That's how I looked. That's how I looked like 50 years ago. And this was this is later. This is later after I became Hare Krishna. That is how. So I realized that Lord wanted me to catch up with Srila Prabhupada, or meet Prabhupada, and meet his followers. So this is where I met my real brothers and sisters, all of you. I got back into the family, and so I just wanted to also thank each one of you for being there for me or organizing this festival so that I could be caught in the net. And Hari Hari, I'm very grateful to Srila Prabhupada and all of you for catching me there. I'm sure I must have purchased some of the. I did purchase books, Giriraj Maharaj, a few small books and BTG. I didn't have much money, so I must have come to you or Pushta Krishna. I don't know who was at the table, and I was not able to speak good English. So I must have a what price, what country from? I was just asking those kind of questions those days. Although I knew English, I wrote my papers in English, but speaking was not. I was not able to manage those days. But I think I had some encounter with some of you. For sure, there's a good chance that I had an encounter with Giriraj Das Brahmachari at the book talk. So I thank Maharaj also for sailing with the books. And I was, Radhanath Maharaj. So he was first one to go for Prabhupada's mercy. He said he was a mouse. Maybe I was even tinier than the mouse that, although shooting for the rhinos, at least they managed to get the mouse, but they couldn't catch me, the smaller, the tinier than the mouse. So I just remained part of the crowd. And Hari Hari, Radhanath Maharaj ki jai, and each one of you ki jai. Hari Hari.
Thank you so much, Lokanath Swami Maharaj. And as you can see, the two of you, this was your time of coming into Krishna consciousness 50 years ago. And I just want to let everybody know that we have 1,085 members watching online right now. And thank you to everyone that's tuned in from the platforms and joining us here. So it's fantastic to see you all here. We're sharing the memories of this Cross Medan Festival with these amazing Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis right now on this basis. So I want to just bring on, if I can, those that were organizing this festival. You heard a little bit that was spoken by Sham Sundar Prabhu. But if I could please, we have Mother Vishaka, we have Yadubara Prabhu, we have Shudi Prabhu, Vegavan Prabhu, and also if we could hear from yourselves, Giriraj Swami Maharaj, as the temple commander. There's some nice little pastimes. So if I may come to yourself just on that first, how was it to organize? Now, this was 15, 20,000, I'm hearing, members coming together every day. God, that must have been a tall feat. Could you take us through how it was to organize in those days when we didn't have mobile phones or we didn't have any type of communications apart from probably a microphone to say, hey, let's do this? Can you please take us through how it was to organize such a feat?
Well, it was blissful because Srila Prabhupada was there and we were doing it for him. I would spend most of the day at the Pandal, whereas the other devotees would go back to the Akash Ganga flat and be with Srila Prabhupada. His Holiness Radhanath Swami mentioned our dear Krishna Goswami. Oh, he was the GBC, and I was working under him. And sometimes he would become quite impatient with the workers. You know, he'd become very angry at them, and I wasn't sure, you know, if that's what we should do, and force people. And so at one stage, I asked him about it, and he said, no, you cannot force people. You can induce them, but you cannot force them. And then there was one incident, because behind the pandal, there were rooms, and Srila Prabhupada would come early and sit in one of the rooms that we had set aside for him, and you know, meet people, speak with me. And so one day he came into that back room, and it was a mess. There were, I guess, glasses, drink glasses on the table. The furniture was not in proper order. There was like a sofa and some chairs, and it was a mess. And I apologized to Srila Prabhupada, and you know, I said, I'm sorry that I couldn't arrange this properly for you. And Srila Prabhupada, he was very compassionate and also intelligent. And he said, you know, how much can you do as one person? And then he quoted something that he had heard from one of his professors, who was saying, he was saying that India was unfit for independence. And the reason he gave was that you can work like an ass, but you cannot control 5 asses. And so that was Prabhupada's instruction to me, like, you know, don't work like an ass, because how much can you do? But, you know, engage others to help you. And that was an important instruction. Yeah. But
Vishaka could say more.
Yes, please unmute, Mother. Thank you.
Yeah, I was not part of the organization, but I was on the receiving end because I would wander around Bombay taking photographs. I was a student of photography, and I was very into photography. And at the end of the streets that I was photographing, I would see these billboards, huge billboards with pictures of Srila Prabhupada, larger than life pictures, inviting everyone to come for the pandal with the dates of the pandal, European and American Vaishnavas. So I was quite intrigued, quite excited, I would say, about what was going to happen at Cross Medan, and looking forward to it. And curious also about this event, as were so many residents of Bombay. But no, I was not part of the organization of the actual pandal.
So on that, and what about yourself, Yadubara Prabhu? You were there as well, and I will come on to Vegavan Prabhu and Shuddhi Prabhu. But your recollection of the organization, were you part of it as well, or were you?
No, I wasn't. I was actually quite new. I mentioned that I was only 2 months with the devotees before the festival happened. And Vishak and I were also both wandering around Bombay, taking art photographs on black and white film. We had been photography students in New York State. So no, we weren't part of that organization. But one thing, very unusual thing I remember is a yogi outside the front of the pandal, and he was standing on his head. But it was very unusual because his arms were raised and his head was buried in the ground. So I'd never seen anything like this. But everybody just kept walking by. They were just interested in the Pandal program. Does anybody remember seeing that yogi? No. Okay.
Did he take photographs? Did he take a picture of him?
Yeah, we have a picture of him somewhere. We'll try to find. So we were quite absorbed in our photography, and we actually asked Prabhupada during that time, during the festival time, where we should go to photograph in a quaint Indian village untouched by modern civilization. And he said, wherever you go, you will get your camera stolen and they will cheat you. He said, best to go to Vrindavan. So Prabhupada actually guided us there, and we had a wonderful time. That's actually where Vishaka Devi became very attracted to Krishna consciousness.
It seems to have happened for everybody. There was such a pivotal moment in your spiritual lives. This Cross Medan Festival. This is what I'm hearing, and for those that have just tuned in, there's 1,130 of you now. We are talking about the Cross Medan Festival that happened in Bombay in 1971. The recollections, the memories that are happening right now. It's so nice. And this Sangha that you're seeing right now is fantastic. And what was amazing, and I'm just looking, Shuddhi Prabhu saying something, but I couldn't, I'm just checking. Hare Krishna, Shuddhi Prabhu, did you say something?
No.
Oh, okay, that's all right. My mistake. So on this basis, I'm coming on to now Vegavan Prabhu and Shuddhi Prabhu because like we talk about pivotal times, it was very pivotal for you both as well. If I'm correct, Shuddhi Prabhu, yourself and Vegavan Prabhu, you both got initiated. So did Padmavati Mataji. And if I'm correct, Shuddhi Prabhu, who were the other 3 members that also got initiated?
Mahamsa, Vardhan, Darsha, and Dravida, who later became Pantra Dravida Swami.
100% points there. You know, it's straight. So cross, that was a quick fire question answer session. Thank you. And I want to just ask now, how was that for you? You've now got, usually it's an intimate, we might have a few hundred people in attendance. Here you've got 15, 20,000 at your initiation ceremony. So I was wondering, Shuddhi Prabhu, how was that feeling for you on that day?
Well, it was fantastic because actually that night they'd advertised the initiation and marriage of Western sadhus, and so 35,000 people came that night. I won't mention all of their names, it would take too long, but at least we have a few here: Vegavan, myself, Radhanath Swami, Giriraj Swami, Vishaka, Yaduvara. But the other people, people remember that, and it was great to hear about Sadaji Whitlaw. That wasn't his business. Punjabi Halway.
Yes.
Those are people that Prabhupada had cultured them before he went to America. And when he came back, they were there to help him. And kirtan was such a big thing. We'd go out with Tamal Krishna to do kirtan. Before that, I was in Paris, and Tamal Krishna would lead the kirtan in Paris, and I'd be at the back watching for police, because when the police would come to arrest us, I would yell, "Stop," and the devotees would merge in the crowd. And people are almost more fascinated to see the kirtan just vanish. So it was great to do kirtan with him again in Mumbai during the festival. And we'd pass out flyers for the festival. And when Radhanath Swami said he felt out of place, he sure seemed in place, especially after the fire sacrifice was done. Prabhupada was leading a kirtan, and we had a rip-roaring kirtan. And I remember we were all jumping up and down. And Radhanath Swami and myself, we looked at Prabhupada, and he smiled at us. And then Tamal Krishna Swami smiled at both of us. And it seemed like just that Prabhupada bringing us all together. We are from different places and different people from India, but Prabhupada bringing us together in Krishna consciousness made us all seem in place there no matter what. And especially that being the initiation day. I was so glad this year I did a conference with Lokanath Swami on March 29th, Monday, which it was also a Monday at that time. That was amazing that many people came on a Monday. But somehow it worked out perfect because I got there on Saturday the 27th. And it was great because my beads had already been sent to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, you can join the initiation and we'll chant on your beads twice. So I thought, wow, I get my beads chanted on twice. I need the extra mercy, but that's okay. It's available. And I'll never forget that day, of course, being initiated. I love hearing the tapes about what Prabhupada talked about promising before the fire and before the deities and before the assembled devotees when there was so many people there. I don't know if any other times we had 35,000 people in assemblance. And I was glad to take my initiation on a day where we had done that big program to show how these big programs can initiate future programs, because everybody remembers that. Even when I went back to Mumbai in 2005, we did a reenactment of the Cross Medan. And of course, that was how many years later? That was like 34 years later. But still, people remembered it, and there were people who were there at it. And I think it would be hard to find a huge amount of crowd that was there. At least we have 7 of us here now that were there. Mahamsa Swami's not available. Mahamsa, where is Mahamsa? Isn't he in South India somewhere?
Yeah, we couldn't get in touch with him. We tried.
Whatever happened to Vardhan? I think Vardhan was actually a plant from the government to spy on us.
That's a rumor.
That's a rumor. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe I shouldn't say that one.
Krishna.
But I think he disappeared to somewhere. Well, they always thought we were spying on them. I went with Radhanath Swami to do books and to make life members. No, it wasn't. It was Rabbanananda Swami. I'm sorry. And they had just put out the article that the Hare Krishnas were CIA. So big Rabbanananda Swami with this big dunda, it looked like there must be a gun hidden. He knocked on the door, and the guy opened the door, and there was a table with 5 people, and they had the pictures of all the communist leaders, Lenin, Trotsky, and Marx. And Rabbanananda Swami says, is Mr. Ishani here? And the guy starts shaking and says, there's no Mr. Ishani here. And he shut the door, and a couple of minutes later, they all go running down the stairs and get in a car and drive off. And Rabbanananda Swami said, where are they going in such a hurry? I said, well, didn't you see the pictures of the communist leaders? They must have thought we were the CIA hit squad coming to get them, because they drove away to save their life. So those rumors were there, but still people got interested, and we've gotten beyond all that. It just shows, even if there's false rumors, we just have to go on spreading our Krishna consciousness and find the favorable people. And hopefully when I come back to Mumbai, I hope to come back now that I've been vaccinated, go to Vrindavan and Kartik. That's my new home besides Laguna Beach. But hopefully I'll be able to come back to Mumbai and visit it there, and maybe a few of those people will be around from that time. I'm sure the big ones that were helping Sadaji Whitlow and all them, they're long gone, because after all, what age were they then? They must have been 40s and 50s then. Giriraj Swami, do you know any people who are alive from that period?
There are a few. One of Srila Prabhupada's big supporters was Mr. P.L. Sethi.
Yes.
And he's not with us. His departure was glorious. He, when he was on his deathbed, so to speak, he told his family, get my things ready. Prabhupada is coming to take me. But his wife is still there.
Wow.
And she comes to Juhu.
Awesome. Also, Mr. Acharya, Prabhupada stayed in one of the apartment was Acharya's apartment, and Prabhupada stayed in his house for one time for some 40 days. He is around, and he is a big governor in one of the states in India.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and he attended our 40th anniversary of Radha Ras Bihari temple opening, and he was a chief guest, Acharya.
Oh, yes, I remember.
When Srila Prabhupada entered his home to stay, he said, I am taking shelter of the Acharyas.
Amazing. So now, just on, these pastimes are coming out, and I'm just trying to share. Who mentioned about, it was Yadubara Prabhu. You mentioned about that person that was upside down.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned this and he was doing a handstand, I'm going to share something. I want to just tell me if this is the picture. We're doing all this live, everybody. So please do forgive for any mistakes caused. But let's see if this works. So I've just I believe this is the picture now coming up on your screens, just so everyone can picture what Yadubara Prabhu was saying. Here he goes. Is this the one?
Yes. And, nobody was around him. I mean, there's some people at the stalls looking, but they're probably looking at me. This is amazing.
So now we know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's like suddenly you're coming to this festival and you're seeing these people doing handless stands, putting their heads in the sand. It gives a concept to that, doesn't it? Put your head in the sand.
Very unusual.
So I just wanted to share that right now. And
thank you. Thanks for Vishaka to dig that up.
Yes, thank you so much. It's good to have the top photographers that we have in our movement here right now, that we can get all this gold dust. So thank you, Mother Vishaka, for that. So I just want to bring on, there's another lovely gold dust picture I want to show. And I wonder if anybody can guess. And we're going to have another quick fire round here right now. Tell me if you know who this is and what is going on. I think I might have given it away, but let's see if we can right now. So I'm just putting it back on screen now. Let's see.
Yes, Bhagavan Prabhu, his wife.
And Padmavati and their wedding.
Yes.
Yamuna Devi. And Saraswati, you can't see her.
Oh, yes, in the back.
In the background.
Yeah. That's the French boy Darsha right behind Bhagavan.
Here. Here. This one?
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. And so, Bhagavan Prabhu, this is your big day, but not just for one reason. You got initiated and then you get married. So two key big days rolled up into one. In front of, I believe Sudi Prabhu said 35,000.
Well, I didn't count, but I'm sure he's right.
So just on this, what was going through your mind at this time? First of all, initiation. Then, hey, we're done initiation. Now marriage. What was going through your mind? Please share.
Well, like you were asking me the other day, and I said I was like in a bubble of euphoria. Because I went to see Srila Prabhupada. I joined in the end of January, and Prabhupada was still traveling. And then, I think, I'm not sure exactly where he was, but he came about 10 days after. And in the meantime, I helped prepare Akashganga, the rooms that he's supposed to be in. Anyway, so when Prabhupada came, I asked him boldly, I think I asked Tamal whether it's appropriate to go and ask for initiation after just joining. And he said, go ahead. And so I did. And Prabhupada, he kindly accepted. me as a disciple. And he himself suggested that my girlfriend and I would get married at the Pandal. So it came with the highest recommendations for us to marry, and we're still together. So it lasted. And anyway, so in the days before the Pandal, there was a frantic activity with the headquarters being Akash Ganga building. And I was actually helping as much as I could, going out with Shamsunda, helping him to collect with the life members all the coal that's needed for the kitchens, all the steel containers needed. You know, it was a huge endeavor. And it was adventure every day, because driving with Shamsunda was not easy, driving in India. But he was so bold that it suited exactly the traffic. So I was allowed to help there. So when the festival actually came, I was already in that bubble of frantic activity. So I was actually helping. I don't think if you remember that, Maharaj, but I was helping you with a book table to the right at the entrance there.
Yeah.
And it was very, very, very interesting to see all these people pouring in and their interests. And you were, when you were there, you were, I mean, I learned a lot from your preaching, and kindly also you took me along afterwards to do life members. And I've never seen such an expert preacher, someone who knew the psychology of people, psychology of Indians, combination of being forceful and very, very funny. I mean, it was so interesting the way you did it. So thank you very much for that. So these days, oh my goodness.
Ooh, someone's in the band. There we go.
So these days were, you know, like, they made me. They shaped me. I really loved every moment of it, and I felt at home. You know, go with the flow. I felt at home with the devotees, with everything that was happening, and I also learned joining in India. Later on, when I went with Srila Prabhupada to Australia, I entered another type of Krishna consciousness, which was more, what should we say, inflexible. Being with Prabhupada in India, I could see how flexible he was, and Giriraj Maharaj, and the way he did, and of course Shamsunda, he was very flexible with everything. And I just loved that, being in contact with Krishna in that way. So I was happy. I was really happy.
Wow. And just now, so of course that was the 29th of March that we got. And of course, Srila Prabhupada, and this is the reason, 125th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada. And he's touched everyone's life. We wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for him. And here he is overseeing your ceremony. And, you know, all the people here right now, like I want to come on to, before we do, we'll go further on to this. Of course, I'm going to bring Gurudas Prabhu video on as well. But this aspect of how Srila Prabhupada has touched everyone's lives, I would really like to go around the room. And of course, the Cross Medan was that type of catalyst, that ignited and took it to another level. And that's why we're so thankful we have here. And we have Shruti Prabhu, who took diligent names of everybody that was there. So we say, yes, 35,000. So can we just have from yourselves about Srila Prabhupada, seeing him? You are here now for 50 years, and this will inspire the next generation, because we haven't seen Srila Prabhupada. But there's something amazing about him that has really kept you strong. And through your words, we're hoping it will keep the next generation and the generation after that strong. So please, can I come around the room and just ask, what's your, realization about Srila Prabhupada? how can the next generation keep that love for Srila Prabhupada, and any realizations you personally would like to share? Is that okay, if I may? So maybe if I could start with Giriraj Maharaj. Yes, please, Giriraj Swami Maharaj.
I want to go back to the initiation and wedding for a moment.
Yes, please, please.
So, yeah, as we heard, Srila Prabhupada performed initiations and the wedding of Vegavan Das from Sweden and Padmavati Dasi from Australia with a full Vedic fire ceremony. And he declared, "This is the real United Nations." And the entire audience, 20 or 30,000 people, clapped and cheered.
Yes.
Amazing. The United Nations, the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, was really hitting the international aspect. Wow. Thank you, Giriraj Swami Maharaj. And staying on that, some inspiration for, what Srila Prabhupada, the way he touched you, and how, what can inspire the next generations to keep and push this beautiful movement carrying on, especially from those days of the association you had with him, please.
Well, personally, I first met Srila Prabhupada in Boston. And I had been, I suppose like many other devotees, I had been looking for a guru. And I was not satisfied with anyone of them. And furthermore, I had a vague mental impression of what my guru looked like. He didn't have hair, and all the other gurus had long hair. So I was becoming hopeless. I mean, I won't enumerate the long list. But then, he actually came to Brandeis University outside Boston, where I was a student. And then the next night I went to the small storefront temple, and he just totally captured my heart and mind and soul. And yeah, he was the fulfillment of everything I was looking for up until then. And from the beginning, I was doing everything that we were told to do, but in a way, I didn't have a focus. And then one day, and this I should also mention as a you could say result of that Pandal program at Cross Medan, Srila Prabhupada was so encouraged by the response that he almost immediately sent Tamal Krishna Goswami and me to put on a Pandal program in Calcutta, which we did, which was huge. And actually, some nights the attendance there was even bigger than the attendance in Bombay.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot came from this first Pandal. So one night, sort of late, in when everyone else in Calcutta temple was asleep, Tamal Krishna Goswami and I met on the balcony, and he said it, and it seems obvious now, but it wasn't so obvious to me then, because there was our sadhana, our seva, and he said, that the secret of success in spiritual life is to serve and feed the guru. And that just went deep into my consciousness. And then that was the criterion for every decision I made thereafter. Wow. What Prabhupada would want to do with this make Prabhupada happy. And that was my move across Medan. Yeah, and I'm really grateful to His Holiness Lokanath Swami for organizing this program and bringing us together. It's bringing back so many wonderful memories, and I get the association of all of you, which is fantastic, and just for extending His mercy. And he was pretty old when he reached America. And for someone his age to travel the way he did and undertake the projects that he did, it was really a tremendous effort. And he did it out of, service to his Guru Maharaj and to all of us. Amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing. Very powerful, very heart-touching. And may I come to you, Mother Vishaka, for just your, realization about Srila Prabhupada and how it can help the next generation. Any thoughts from your side on this?
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful question, how the next generation can keep their love for Srila Prabhupada. I appreciate that very much. I think that Prabhupada has so many facets, so many ways to appreciate him. A few of them have come up in this conversation. Bhagavan Prabhu mentioned how Giriraj Maharaj was forceful and yet funny in his preaching. And similarly, Prabhupada had an intensity in his preaching. At the same time, he had a marvelous sense of humor. He could turn a phrase and everyone would be laughing. You've probably seen photographs of all the disciples laughing with Srila Prabhupada. And he also had this side of him that was so flexible, so accommodating, that was also very compelling, very attractive. And I was especially moved by his conviction that he was just so completely convinced that that in itself was convincing. And then he had many logical arguments as far as reason and logic go, and of course the Shastra to back up what he was saying. And it made common sense as well. So it was quite an embracing experience, I must say, from so many different points of view. I was in a bubble of skepticism. I was not looking for a guru or for spiritual life. I came at the invitation of Yadavara Prabhu, as he mentioned, and there I was. I was also on the stage feeling completely out of place, but nonetheless really fascinated by the situation, and especially by Srila Prabhupada, because of his knowledge and also being so personal. That was one thing. The first thing that I noticed about Srila Prabhupada, I was in the kitchen in Akash Ganga, just watching the devotees. Yadabara was rolling puris to help out. And at that moment, Prabhupada came in and I didn't recognize him. And yet what I did see immediately, that he was so aware of what was going on. He turned his head to see, and he noted each person and what they were doing. I had never seen such an awareness in anyone. So that was quite striking. And then gradually, he did magic on a very hard heart. Still doing magic by his grace and his potency.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And maybe if I can come on to Yadubara Prabhu, please.
Well, it was such a beautiful appreciation of Prabhupada. Vishaka Devi, thank you so much. I first met Prabhupada in Surat, and I was looking a little bit like Radhanath Swami, not so, not such long hair, but I felt, later I realized I was quite dirty in mind and dress. So I had brought to Srila Prabhupada a couple of magazine articles that I did on the movement. And that was the first night I arrived. Actually, the person who opened the door was Rishi Kumar. And he was the president of New York I first met, and he very gladly welcomed me to do those articles on the New York Temple. I was shocked to see him, and he was shocked to see me. And he immediately took me to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada looked at those articles. He didn't just look at the cover, but he went through page by page. Vishaka also had this experience in Los Angeles, looking at Prabhupada looking at one of her BTG articles. He was very thorough and really took note. And I was quite embarrassed because one of the magazines was kind of a hippie magazine, and there was some nudity in it. But Prabhupada looked at it. He didn't bat an eye. He just kept going through the pages. And at the end, he said, "If we find gold in a dirty place, we can take it." And then, here I was. I told Prabhupada what I would like to do, travel with him and take pictures for a master's degree thesis from the photography school I was going to. So Prabhupada, he said, he didn't answer that question. He said, well, "Are you going to become a devotee?" And I was quite shocked. I didn't, I hadn't planned on that. And so I said, "I don't think so, Srila Prabhupada." So then he said, "Then you cannot stay." And that was the first night in Surat. And I wasn't sure what to do. But the devotees very kindly gave me a place to sleep. And the next morning, they didn't say anything, and Prabhupada didn't say anything. And I stayed for 2 months. So Srila Prabhupada was very, very compassionate. He understood our hearts. He understood that I had a little attraction for Krishna consciousness. And he tolerated my presence for 2 months up until the Cross Medan Festival.
Amazing.
And at the Cross Medan Festival, I would like just to reiterate what His Holiness Radhanath Swami said about Prabhupada's appeal to the audience. He was begging people to take to Krishna consciousness. That had a big impact on me because Prabhupada is begging all of us. And even though we're trying to become devotees for so long, that's still our goal, to become fully Krishna conscious, at least mine. I think all of everyone. But it's not an easy path. And we have to be very determined to become pure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your openness and heartfelt words on. It's not an easy path. It's something we have to endeavor to. So thank you so much, Yadubara Prabhu. And I would love if we can come to Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Please, could you share your nectar on this?
Thank you, Lokanath Maharaj, for giving us this chance to be together today. I was so much appreciating what His Grace Vegavan Prabhu was speaking about Srila Prabhupada. How when he met Srila Prabhupada in Mumbai, Srila Prabhupada requested Vegavan Prabhu and Padmavati Devi to be married during the Cross Medan Pandal program. And this is just the brilliance of Srila Prabhupada's compassion. According to time, place, and circumstance, to reach people's hearts. In so many ways, it's innovative. For the people of India, at that time, when Cross Medan was present, I don't think there was ever an incident in the history of India where a group of Western people were preaching Bhagavad Dharma to the Indian people. Previously, people came from the West and went to ashrams or went to, hermitages, in a very quiet way. But here, the first time in the history of the world, devotees from Europe and America came to India as preachers and organized such a spectacular event. And just to show how deeply and profoundly the Western people were taking root in the Vedic culture, Srila Prabhupada had a marriage ceremony. Because it's one thing to see people from various parts of the world chanting and dancing in kirtan. That was profoundly impressive. But in India, marriage is like the most sacred of all commitments to most people. They don't really understand what initiation is so much, but a marriage, everybody knows that is something so deep in India. People save up practically their whole lifetime to arrange a marriage for their children. So Prabhupada had Western people, Bhagavan Prabhu and Padmavati Devi, getting married, taking lifelong vows. What a brilliant plan that was for Srila Prabhupada, and what an incredible spontaneous surrender of Bhagavan Prabhu and Padmavati Devi to commit their lives in such a strange environment. But that's what Srila Prabhupada was. That same innovative time, place, and circumstance in 1966 at Tompkins Square Park. He didn't even have a mridanga, just a little bongo drum. And he sat under a tree, and he got the hippies and the homeless people to chant and dance. And then he, in 26 Second Avenue, he established the Sunday Love Feast. And in San Francisco, there was the mantra rock dance. And George Harrison, Prabhupada said, remain a Beatle and teach people about loving God and teach about Krishna through your music. So Srila Prabhupada, according to time, place, and circumstance, just knew how to somehow or other reach people's hearts in a very, very transformative way. And Cross Medan, in every possible way, did that for people of India. And the reverberations of what happened at Cross Medan, Srila Prabhupada's compassion, his brilliance, and the dedication of all of the devotees who surrendered their lives to facilitate this program, it's having reverberations throughout the world.
Wow. Thank you so much. And I can see Bhagavan Prabhu. Thank you, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, for sharing. And if I can come on to Bhagavan Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for those remembrances. Just to give some even more weight to what you were saying about the importance of the marriage ceremony in India. About 25 years after the ceremony, I was walking in Bombay, just me and I just walking alone. A man comes up to me and says, "I was at your wedding." Yeah, and
Congratulations.
Sorry.
Congratulations on the 50th anniversary.
50th golden anniversary, right? Looking at Maharaj, it's
wow.
Yeah.
Years.
Thank you.
Wow.
As long as I hold the mic, so to speak, can I just say a few words?
Of course.
Thank you. Vishaka Devi mentioned a few things that impressed her with Srila Prabhupada and his qualities, and I really concur with that. His determination, his conviction. I mean, he just exuded conviction, and you couldn't help but be sort of captured by it. But and he struck me as the first genuine person that I've ever met. I mean, he wasn't out to cheat me. He had his agenda. so that was really impressive. But another thing was, as I got to know him a little better because I was traveling with him a little while, was how personal he was. And I felt always a lack on my behalf, on my behalf, that I couldn't respond with the same personal approach. But he was, and I remember so many. We were in Germany one time, me and my wife, and in the temple, and Prabhupada walks by, and he just says, "Oh, but Padmavati, she makes very good chapatis." You see, because Padmavati cooked for him chapatis in Bombay, in Mumbai in those days. He remembered that, and small things like that, personal approaches, which really, warms your heart. And that combination of the stalwart preacher and his personal softness, I never met anyone like that, and I probably never will. Except, of course, the company that I'm seeing in front of me on the screen. But we're all influenced by Srila Prabhupada that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhagavan Prabhu. Shuddhi Prabhu, please, love to hear your thoughts.
Yes. I'm thinking about how Prabhupada was very professional and yet at the same time very accommodating, and how we can show the next generation, like my godbrothers do now, especially like we have here, Giriraj Swami and Radhanath Swami and Lokanath Swami, how they take care of the people very nicely. And Prabhupada did that. I put it on my Facebook page. My mother was a trust attorney for 64 years, and she got to do things for Srila Prabhupada, like write the book trust. And she talks in that video about how Prabhupada was very professional, and he understood exactly what she'd done and why it was done that way. And he was very clear what he wanted. But at the same time, he was very accommodating with her. And when she asked, "Do you know who my son is?" Prabhupada says, "Yes, he's the young brahmachari in Mumbai." But I saw that from when we came to Mumbai, and Prabhupada said, "These are young boys, you must take care of them." And Shamashundar and Brahmananda and the others, I thought they were old, because we said, "Did you hear what happened to Tamal Krishna?" I said, "No." And someone said, "He turned 24. And Shamashundar said, "That's nothing. I'm 29. And that was like really old for us. But especially I saw that when I went to South Africa, speaking of Rishi Kumar, with Rishi Kumar, to start a temple in South Africa. And one day he was gone. And I looked around, I found a note, "Dear Shuddhi, decided to split." And I couldn't believe here I was in this country all alone. We were miles from any neighbors, with riots going on. And I thought, what can I do? I'll have to write to Prabhupada. And I wrote to Prabhupada that I was going to order more Bhagavad Gitas because I would use them to sell the other books. And Rishi Kumar had taken some money, and I was going to make incense sticks. And I wondered if I'd made so many decisions on my own, but there was no one to ask. So a letter came back from Prabhupada, and I wondered why it came so quickly, because in those days we'd make carbon copies, and I sent one to Karandar and one to Brahmananda. Shamashundar told me why. He said that he would open up all the letters. And he said to Prabhupada, "Prabhupada, we just got a letter from Shuddhidas, and Rishi Kumar left him all alone there and took the money with him and didn't tell him anything." He says, Prabhupada's eyes got really big and said, "We'll immediately dictate a letter, you immediately type it, and immediately take it to the post office." So when the letter came back, I was wondering if I was in trouble for making so many decisions. And I can still remember opening the top of that letter, because the first words were, "I am very much pleased at the responsibility you've taken to spread Krishna consciousness in South Africa at such a young age." And then he said that somehow or other, he said that Rishi Kumar was tempted by Maya and he fell. He said somehow or other you were left alone, just like our Narada Muni. And now when I'm under lockdown and I have no parents and no brothers and sisters, no wives, it's just me and a lot of time alone, I can remember that Prabhupada said I was left alone, and Narada Muni was left alone, and he made great advancement. And then he said, "I am praying to Krishna that you will have the strength and enthusiasm to carry out this mission." And so I try to remember that today. to pray to Prabhupada to carry out this mission, and with some semblance to try to take care of other people, not anything like Prabhupada, but in that mood of trying to help them out. And then from there on, the next letter I got from Prabhupada, Rishi Kumar showed up in Mumbai, and Prabhupada said, "You left that young boy all alone with a $15,000 debt." He said, "You give me what money you have." So Rishi Kumar gave him $700, and Prabhupada credited it to my book bill. So then he said that Duradarshan was going to come help me out. Of course, Duradarshan means hard to find or see, so he left right away. And then he said that, at first he'd asked Brahmananda to come and help me. So Brahmananda's writing me letters. He's in Nairobi, he's leaving, he's now in Mombasa, now he's in Dar es Salaam. I kept getting letters, and then he didn't show up. And it's because they turned him back at the border because he brought African devotees with him.
You're light.
Yes,
We just.
but Prabhupada said, "I'm left alone there. Go help Shunidas out." And he got in the vehicle and took other devotees. It took a 2,000-mile drive across Africa. It's not like, well, I'm busy or I'm tired. He just did what was necessary. And somehow or other, he wasn't able to get in. And then Prabhupada had asked Pushta Krishna Swami to come. And he was ready to come just when the government was catching up with me. And I called him and said, "You got to get here right away." But Prabhupada, even though he had a big movement to run, little mouse like me, he was concerned that I was there alone, and he was concerned that South Africa was going on. And I didn't ask Prabhupada, "Please try to find Rishi Kumar and get some of the money back," but he did it. And so I try to help people out. Nothing, of course, in that idea, but in that mood, because when people know you're really on their side, it really helps them to stay around.
Thank you so much.
I know.
You were brought back into the light there.
Yes.
Srila Prabhupada brought you from the darkness into the light.
Because I was left alone, but when I thought of Prabhupada helping me out, I wasn't alone anymore.
Thank you so much, Shudi Prabhu. And finally, by no means least, I would love to hear Lokanath Swami Maharaj, your realizations on this, please. Especially on Srila Prabhupada.
I'm going between where I am and Cross Medan all this time. I'm even looking at the watch, and exactly around this time, the Cross Medan Festival on the 4th of April, 71, on Saturday was coming close, kind of around festival 6 to 8:30. So we are also on time, winding up that festival and trying to reliving that festival. During the day on this day, on the 4th of April, Srila Prabhupada wrote letter to Vaikuntanath and Saradiya. Today he wrote, during the day he wrote the letter. This is Prabhupada says, "Here in India we are having one massive Sankirtan festival where 20 to 30,000 people are chanting, hearing a lecture, and receiving prasad." Prabhupada, this Vaikuntanath is in Trinidad with his wife, and Prabhupada is personally reporting to him. And he says, "In Bombay, our preaching work is very successful. Many important men are becoming interested. Most probably we will have a permanent center here soon." So Prabhupada is going beyond the festival. What happens after the festival is already planning and spreading the news around all over of the successful Cross Medan Festival. And during the day he had come to Girgaon Chowpatty, Radhanath Maharaj. I don't know whether you went there, but that procession, the floats and the deities were also in the chariot. Prabhupada was riding. I was accompanying that procession, and there was a little pandal stage at Girga Chowpatty. I remember today that was this I think afternoon, then evening pandal. I even remember. I don't remember much, but Prabhupada was talking about Vaikuntha world and going back to home, back to Godhead, and yeah, she was appealing to Indians to join, step forward. So I was there listening to Prabhupada, and then I was thinking, Prabhupada must have. He did plant the seeds of the future Chowpatty Radha Gopinath temple, which is just few hundred meters away from present Radha Gopinath temple. Prabhupada held that pandal program, and that was today, on concluding day, grand finale day. Hari Hari. So now for me, the takeaways from this festival were that one thing was I was convinced the Americans are sadhus, the Europeans are sadhus. This is how it was advertised, and we were all wondering, is this true, or is this just a gimmick, or what is it? So by me being there for 11 days, every day attended that festival, and I was convinced that they are sadhus, they are genuine sadhus, and I wanted to be one of them, one sadhu like them. The kirtans performed on the stage during this festival. Well, they were led by Madhur Prabhu or Jamuna Mataji, and I had not, although I had heard so many bhajans, kirtans, being a part of the Warkari tradition in Maharashtra, Pandharpur related, but kind of kirtans that Prabhupada's American sadhus, the white elephants, were performing on the stage. And with all their heart, with all their strength, and they were totally oblivious to the surroundings, and they're perspiring. So that was amazing. And, if there's anything that impressed me, that was number one item that impressed me in that festival. Krishna Prabhupada, of course, I got my life back. Prabhupada gave me the mission of my life. As one day Prabhupada was talking, I had this idea of wanting to serve people, wanting to serve humanity, or become, Desh Bhakta of the Desh country, or some kind of reformer, social reform. I had these thoughts, but I did not know where to start, and had no resources. And but during this festival, Prabhupada, one day, he said, by example from Bhagavatam, by pouring the water on the root of the tree, then the trunk, branches, and the leaves, and everything is not.
Okay.
By serving Krishna, everyone is served. So I got my mission back, and as I was watching Vegaban and others get initiated, I was being tempted, and I was, me too. One I would like to be initiated. So this starts. I made kind of Prabhupada my guru by end of the festival, and Giriraj Prabhu had kindly sold me some books, so I took them away. That was takeaway for me. And well, so that is how my journey started 50 years ago, and then once kind of joined this Hare Krishna movement, I never looked back, or there were no U-turns. I never ever thought of leaving this company of Prabhupada followers, disciples, and of course, there's no question of leaving Prabhupada. So I am very, very, well, I don't know how much we could thank Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhupada, and thank you, all of you, my brothers and sisters, and that for past 20, not 20, but 50 years, you have kept me around you, tolerated me, accommodated me, engaged me, and I think for the second generation, get inspiration to move this mission forward, or accept Srila Prabhupada into their lives. I was thinking that the Prabhupada immediate disciples, direct disciples, and their Prabhupada realizations, or their convictions, and who Prabhupada is. I think if they could keep getting association like this and hear from them about Prabhupada, I think this will transfer, and our convictions about Prabhupada, our understanding of Prabhupada will get transferred to the second generation. I think that also was one purpose of organizing this reliving Hare Krishna Festival across Maidan, sharing Prabhupada with all those who have assembled today in a big number. I wanted to share all my God brothers, God sisters, with you all present, so that you will be connected with Srila Prabhupada. You will be convinced about Prabhupada. You will surrender to Prabhupada, become his followers, and carry forward Prabhupada's mission, which he very much wanted that to happen. That is what he was trying to do. Please try to understand this Hare Krishna movement. Prabhupada was appealing all the time. So I think we'd like you all to also understand Prabhupada's movement, understand Prabhupada's Vani, read Prabhupada's books. And so this is 125th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada. We're celebrating throughout this year. This is also a opportunity for all of us to, I would say, to increase Prabhupada consciousness. As during Centennial, we were stressing this. We had one petal called increasing Prabhupada consciousness and uniting Prabhupada's family, and strengthening Krishna consciousness movement or management, and like that. So this year is here. As we are celebrating here the 50th anniversary of Hare Krishna Festival. This lasted for 11 days. Today is the concluding day, but we are stopping here. We have a long way to go to the end of this year, and so let us celebrate this year as 125th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's year, and we all welcome you all, everybody. Every man, woman, child should be part of this celebration, so that Prabhupada is glorified, or Ebeyesh Goshukri Bhuvana, his glory should be spreading all over the three worlds. So I'm sure what we are doing right now with this get-together reunion. This will spread Prabhupada's glories more far and wide, and so like that. So
Yes.
once again, I thank all assembled here on the screen, and my senior. You were senior then, and you are senior now. You would always remain senior to me. So I thank you for your presence, your association, and thank also all the audience that is tuned in. Anyway, I think thank you. Somebody else is doing.
We've got, of course, Gurudas Prabhu, who's going to say a few words. And we've got some books, and then of course we're going to come to the conclusion, and it's going to be, I'm going to just let everybody know our conclusion is going to be about that balloon. We want to, so just any stories about that balloon, we want to hear it, so please get that ready. And as we're doing that, I'm just going to put the video of our dear Gurudas Prabhu on now, and Hare Krishna, here we go.
Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is not always peace of mind.
Internet. So we'll just check again. I'll just try again. We'll try and make this work. We'll if it comes to it, we'll come back. I'll just stop this for a second. Right. So just while I will put on Gurudas Prabhu as soon as the internet is just working right. But while we do that, I really want to try and get this on now. So I'll just try one more time. And if this works, then we will go for it. If not, I will put on the pictures that we want to try and do. So let's see if this works. Okay.
Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness
coming on
is
now.
not always peace of mind because we're trying to serve better. So this was going on, and the stage was built, and the day of the Pandal, Prabhupada put some seats for 1 rupee if life members or people didn't want to sit on the ground. The communists came and they were complaining, class consciousness. This was on the stage. We're ready to start. We heard the noise. Prabhupada said, Gurudas, what is that? I went over. They're complaining about the seats, class conscious, and Naxalites. Prabhupada said, let them sit in the seats. I said, I went there, you can sit in the seats. Now they had nothing to complain about. But also Prabhupada started singing the Brahma Samhita prayers, which really calmed it down. It was a wonderful time. Then we did it in Delhi. Prabhupada and I decided we would have a different speaker. It was a 6 or 7 day Pandal. I invited the mayor of Delhi. I invited the poet laureate. I invited the scientist laureate, Dr. Atmaram. I invited the ambassador of Canada, James George. They all came. I went with Tamal to try and get the defense minister of India to come to our Pandal. His name was Jagjivan. There was a guard at the gate with a gun and a bayonet trying to stop us, but Tamal and I had a plan. Tamal would go one way, we would fork like a river. He would go one way and I would go the other. So Tamal went to the left, the guard went after Tamal. I went right to the porch of the defense minister, and there we were at 7 in the morning with him in his pajamas. I said, please come to our festival. I told him a little bit about it. He said, we are a secular government. That's what they were doing at the time. Indira Gandhi herself said, I can't come because everybody would want me to come. I said, we're not a religion, we're a way of life. At any rate, another story. So Jagjivan said, no, I can't come. I saw a painting right there in his house, and it was his mother chanting japa.
I said, if you don't come to our festival, I'm going to tell your mother on you. Okay, I'll come. At the last minute, he declined, but for the moment, he accepted. So we were getting ready for the glorious festival that we're celebrating now in Mumbai, Bombay. I was put in charge of advertising and licensing, so many things. We were multitasking. Okay, I thought, what's a good advertisement? Let's do a ruby. Everybody pays attention to a ruby, but that's kind of crass. So I came up with the idea, let's do a telegram. Everybody wants a telegram. And I had a picture of Prabhupada with his danda and the information on the telegram. And we were making banners and festoons across the road, everything. Samashinda too, he's expert at advertising. So we advertised it, we did the licenses, we learned from mistakes from the past pandals, so it became even easier. And so it was glorious. And we had a wonderful stage. And even during this pandal gathering, Prabhupada did an initiation and a wedding. It was wonderful, showing how Krishna consciousness is worldwide. It was Vegavan and Parvati. It was wonderful. And we had a better kitchen this time. We learned from the past Pandal. There was a little alley in the back, in the Delhi Pandal, where there was a WC. And Prabhupada called me over to the Vyasasana and he said, is there a WC? And I said, yes, there is. And during the program, he got off the Vyasasana and walked into this little alley. 300 people started to follow him. Swamiji, what have we done? Why are you leaving us? I had to, wait a minute. He's just going to the WC. He'll be back, folks. And so everything was really planned, and we had a nice kitchen this time.
Wow. So thank you. I could hear some laughter just once watching that. Please please unmute you if it's muted. Just when hearing from Gurudas Prabhu, please your thoughts on that. I heard some. Whoever feels they would like to speak. Maybe I need to ask somebody.
Well, I can ask. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Begaman Prabhu, please, please.
Well, I have very fond memories of Gurudas and his then wife Yamuna. When we joined, we've been traveling in South India and then heard about the festival, so we went and eventually we joined. And those two, Gurudas and his wife, they sort of took care of us, and we felt, like their children. And it was so nice. Yamuna taught us the songs. She taught us how to, so many things. We went through the songbook, and Gurudas, he provided pictures for our home altars and things like that. So it was very nice. Very, very nice with those two, kind of like father and mother figures.
Thank you so much for sharing. And any other comments, dear mothers, Maharajas, Prabhus, just on this? And
well, I had joined by now, and in 1975, Srila Prabhupada's festival was getting organized at another Maidan in Delhi called Ram Lila Maidan, after Mayapur Vrindavan festivals. And Srila Prabhupada stayed at Lakshman Silvania. Anyway, it was myself and Gurudas Prabhu. We were involved in organizing that festival. So Cross Medan, he was involved, others were involved, but then I had also opportunity to organize festival for Srila Prabhupada, and along with Guru Das, that was in Delhi, Ram Leela Maidan. So I had a good, we were buddies by that time, and we were colleagues, and I was assisting him. He was a great organizer.
Thank you so much. I'm going to come onto, we're coming to the conclusion here, and we've had so many pastimes, and I wanted to just finish off and with this amazing picture that seems to have captured everybody. I'm sure in the sky it captured everyone's hearts as well. So if I may just bring on this picture now, I'll just do it now. And I'd like to hear, if I may, from Yadubara Prabhu first, if you may, just on what's happening here, and any memories of this lovely Krishna ball. You're on mute, I believe. I'll just check. There we go. We find that.
This was an incredible advertising gimmick by Shyam Sundar Prabhu. I don't know if I guess they had balloons in Bombay, but everybody saw it. This went high in the sky, and everybody saw it from miles around. But one thing, if I don't speak again, I'd like to recognize the contribution of Durlabh Prabhu, who shot these films. I believe he's the one who shot these films. He took many films in Surat also, and I just want to thank him for his contribution.
Oh, thank you so much. And Giriraj Swami Maharaj, you were helping organize in the back all this going on. How hard was it to get this massive balloon from, to procure a balloon like that?
I was not directly involved with the balloon, although I was the main fundraiser for the pandal, approaching businessmen to give advertisement for our souvenirs. So indirectly I helped. But the way Shyam Sundar Prabhu did the publicity, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And I think we saw a picture of that billboard at VT, Victoria Terminus. And it's like at the end, everyone knew so much about what was going on. He didn't even need to put the dates or anything. Just, Hare Krishna Festival was enough. And people recognized the event. So, yeah, he was a great soul. I mean, he's a great soul.
Thank you. And I can see looking at Swami Maharaj.
The balloon was a giant size. It was up high, maybe 200 feet in the sky, and there were two strings coming down, and there were the letters also written like H-A-R-E, like you could read from top to bottom. I don't know whether there was a Hare other side of this balloon, but so Hare Krishna was written, and this was a kind of dominating the scene. This balloon was getting everyone's attention, and I was just thinking this was like our victory balloon or victory flag. This balloon. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, and today is also appearance day of Srivas Thakur. So Sankirtan movement started, at Srivas Angan. So kind of Hare Krishna movement started in India at Hare Krishna Festival, Cross Medan, I would say. other places also. But this was quite a remarkable festival at Cross Medan, and this balloon was standing out tall. And
thank you so much. And just on that, before we come into the closing words, and I'll be coming to Radhanath Swami Maharaj next, but I just want to just let everybody know, since you just mentioned about the Sankirtan movement, the ISKCON Kirtan Ministry has now released a new website, since it's on the Sankirtan movement we're talking about, www.iskonkirtanministry.com. As you know, Lokanath Swami Maharaj is the ISKCON Kirtan minister. And we thought this would be a great time. So since you mentioned Sankirtan movement, I thought I would just bring that up and put that plug in there. So thank you so much. And as you say, we take that opportunity when it comes. So please do check out the iskonkirtanministry.com. And dearest Radhanath Swami Maharaj, your reflection and closing words on this gathering and also about this festival.
Cross Medan is a glimpse into the power of Srila Prabhupada's pure devotion and his compassion, his conviction, how it empowered people to do something that really was quite impossible. It's hard for people today to understand what it was like for people from Europe and America to come to India 50 years ago and actually organize and accomplish something of such proportion. We have with us today His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. Prabhupada would say Bombay means Giriraj and Giriraj means Bombay. He entrusted, his office to Giriraj Swami Maharaj. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj has done so many years of devotional service there. But let us just imagine these devotees had just come to India within a couple months. There was Guru Das Prabhu and Yamuna Devi Prabhu. There was Shamsundar Prabhu and Malati Devi and Saraswati. And there was Tamal Krishna Goswami and Giriraj Maharaj and Madhu Vista Maharaj. These devotees, there were just a few of them. They were entrusted with raising the funds and organizing and advertising and doing everything. How Srila Prabhupada gave them the confidence, the courage, the enthusiasm, and the willingness to make so many sacrifices. March in Bombay at that time, it was like 90 or 100 degrees every day, and there was no air conditioners or fans practically. And these devotees were working and working and serving and serving. It really is a revelation of Srila Prabhupada's compassion, of how he empowered these devotees at such a difficult time to do something so wonderful. And they were so happy doing it, simply because they were doing it for Prabhupada. They were doing the most difficult and painful things they've ever done in their lives, but they were so happy to do it because they were doing it for Srila Prabhupada. They had such confidence that Prabhupada loved them and cared about them, and they wanted to assist Srila Prabhupada to do something wonderful. And the Cross Medan Festival truly was something wonderful. And the seed of Cross Medan created Lokanath Swami Maharaj, who became a tree himself, so many millions of fruits and seeds. And I'm just so grateful to you, Lokanath Maharaj, for organizing this very auspicious event. And thank you, Vegavant Prabhu and Vishaka Prabhu and Yaduvar Prabhu and Shudi Prabhu and His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And Vishaka, Mother Vishaka, please, your final closing words and realizations.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, I think that Prabhupada's combination of, just as his name says, bhakti and Vedanta was irresistible for so many people, and it will continue to be irresistible as long as we can continue to represent both his caring side and his personal side, the bhakti side, as well as the Vedanta, the immersion in the scriptures, along with that flexibility that Radhanath Swami spoke of. It was not something rigid, but it was very much according to how the people did at that time and that place and under those circumstances. That was just so inspiring, and the way that he could utilize the spark, fan the spark, if you will, and make it blaze, and then people found it, it was, as I say, irresistible to come and participate and become devoted themselves. So it's just an extraordinary example, and I want to thank you for hosting us, Jagannath Kirtanananda Prabhu, and thank all the participants also for reviving that wonderful time.
Thank you so much. And for me being in the UK and having Mother Vishaka on, who is the temple president of Bhaktivedanta Mana, is an absolute honor. So I just wanted to also, just on this point, Yadubara Prabhu and Mother Vishaka both have this beautiful, as you know, the film that really helps us appreciate Srila Prabhupada, which has gone global. But everybody that's on, the over 1,000 people that are on right now, if you have not, share it. www.harekrishnafilm.com. And please, let's revive that. Let's bring that love to Srila Prabhupada, and let's remember him as we go forward. So thank you so much to Yadubara Prabhu and Vishaka Prabhu for this amazing offering that you have done. So I just wanted to just bring that out. And please, Vegavan Prabhu, if I can come on to you, your closing words, please.
Well, what we saw with Srila Prabhupada was, as Radhanath Maharaj was explaining, the things, the accomplishments that were done in those early days. I just came to accept it as natural. As long as Prabhupada is there, anything is possible. And it was, and in the coming years, I saw that again and again. And I think it is what we were saying before. Prabhupada's determination and absolute conviction just generated from him, and as did the idea of anything is possible because we have Krishna. So that will be my concluding words. Thank you very much.
As long as we have Krishna. Thank you so much. Shudi Prabhu, please, any final words from yourself?
I just hope we can use this remembrance of the Cross Medan Festival to remember in the future that we can put on big projects and we can complete the things like Mayapur or other projects that are needing to be completed, and we can continue our preaching. And as Prabhupada had confidence in his young disciples, that we can have confidence in people and encourage them to be the best devotees that they can be.
Thank you. And thank you for the encouragement there from yourself and your energy on the call today. Really, really appreciate it. And dearest Lokanath Swami Maharaj, you've spearheaded this Cross Medan Festival. You as in brought it to life again 50 years on, and helped us connect with all your dear God brothers and God sisters here. Any concluding words from yourself? Hare Krishna.
Concluding. I thought I'd conclude.
Final conclusive to yourself. Thank you.
All right. What can I say? Hari Hari. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He gave us Krishna. When he's Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, there's a saying, and we hear this. Vasudha is the earthly planet, and everybody on this planet is part of that family. Kutumba is family. So Prabhupada gave us that family, gave us the whole house he built, that whole world could live in. Yeah, otherwise there's so much hatred and whatnot, which is dividing the world, the humanity, with the thoughts, I am Nijaha, Paraveti, Ganana, Lagu Chetasam. I am, these are my people. I am Nijaha, Parahaveti, but these are outsiders. One who thinks like this is Laghu Chaitasam. One who has a narrow-minded, small-minded person thinks like this. But Udara Charitanam, for those who are magnanimous, broad-minded, like Prabhupada, for them, the whole world is of one big family. So this we find in Vedas, this statement, Shastras. So Prabhupada kind of, he translated that into action, and he gave us this united mission of the spiritual world, and the Vedwan Prabhu from Sweden and Australian. So as Giriraj Maharaj reminded, this is united world, or united, what is that?
This is the real United Nations.
United Nations. So it wasn't just limited to that marriage, but I think we all, through Prabhupada, united all of us, all of us. Someone from remote village in Maharashtra, India, to from Chicago, Titon?
Yeah.
Yeah, Giriraj Maharaj, and was a big judge, big lawyer, so big lawyer's son, and here is some farmer's son from India. United like that. Forget all the rich and poor and man and woman and all this east and west, all the barriers removed and dismantled, and with Krishna consciousness, he just united us, and this is just a beginning, and he has demonstrated, yeah, this is possible, this could happen. Yeah, we saw it, so we just had to carry on with Prabhupada's mission so that more and more folks from all over would join this family of Krishna, family of Prabhupada, family of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So once again, thank you, everybody. It's getting late. And,
yes, and I'm going to just finally conclude with there's some books that, as you can see on the screen right now, the last 11 days, you've heard pastime stories. They have come from these books. Chasing Rhinos, Volume 2, from Srila Prabhupada Leela Mitra. We have Lokanath Swami's Bombay is My Office. Giriraj Swami's I'll Build You a Temple. Of course, we have Yamuna Devi's books as well. And we have Her Grace, Vishaka Prabhu's 5 years, 11 months. So it says Amazon there, but you can get the link, and we'll be sharing the links out. But if you want to have it, it's coming up right now on your screen. All these are the links that will come, and we'll put it into the chat box, so we've got it on the conversations. But please do check these books out. check it out, and then try to connect with Srila Prabhupada, and of course read Srila Prabhupada's books. This is the essence. So I will stop here now, and I want to say thank you to everybody for joining and giving your association. And now I will just pass to Her Grace Dina Nakampa Mataji, if she could come on, who's been actually, before she does, she has been the one that's been getting the all the backbones getting together and putting the videos together and getting everybody working on this. So I just want to introduce her right now to finish the closing words. And so please, Mataji, Hare Krishna. You need to unmute. You're unmuted now. Please.
Okay. Hare Krishna, my most humble obeisances. Wow. I can't stop smiling, and there's a lump in my throat right now. So I'm not even sure. There are a million reasons that are there that I need to thank you for, and I need to show some appreciation. But I've chosen 3 of those million, and hopefully they say something. My first thank you comes from the fact that 50 years ago, Srila Prabhupada had envisioned and planned this priceless Bhagavad Dharma Discourse Festival. And today and throughout the week, because of your vivid, compelling, and heartfelt remembrances, this festival has become personified. And as second-generation disciples, what more could we desire? Secondly, reliving the 1971 Hare Krishna Cross Medan Festival has been relived because of modern technology. And this is one thing I want to take away from here. Your participation, your outpouring of love, the assistance that we have received in trying to put together this festival. Hopefully it means that we have set the scene for those ISKCON members who 50 years from now plan to commemorate the centennial celebrations of this festival. So they have something more to go on than what we had. Basically, a priceless festival and Srila Prabhupada have become further immortalized. And then finally, or not finally, but on behalf of the team, I would also like to thank you for giving us an opportunity to serve you. Without a doubt, something we will cherish forever. Last but not least, a very, very, very special thank you to Lokanath Swami Gurudev. Reliving the Bombay Hare Krishna Festival at Cross Medan was Maharaj's brainchild, which has inadvertently given us all an opportunity to be part of a special offering to Srila Prabhupada on his Divine Grace's 125th birth anniversary. What more could I ask for? So I thank you all very, very much from the bottom of our hearts. And please accept our humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining. And here's to another 50, 500, 5,000 years. And may we carry on to celebrate dearest Srila Prabhupada and his legacy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.